Hey everybody, welcome to the HerdFit Podcast with Dr. Sam Rhee and myself, Coach David Syvertsen. This podcast is aimed at helping anyone and everyone looking to enhance their healthy lifestyle through fitness, nutrition, and most importantly, mindset.
All right, welcome back to the HerdFit Podcast. I am Coach David Syvertsen. I'm here with my co-host, Dr. and Coach Sam Rhee, and we have Coach Adam Ramsden back for week 2 of this time around the sun with him. And today, the word dark, guys, in relation to CrossFit, could have a couple of different meanings. I think we've used them in different contexts, both right now and in the past. We're going to talk about the dark week here at CrossFit Bison. We did it for the first time, and what it was is that we did not release any workouts ahead of time. It was you show up to the gym, and you should find out the workout at that very moment, at the whiteboard, 3 minutes before the talk, 15 minutes before the actual workout starts. And I want to get your feedback on that initially, both as athletes and coaches, what that was like, because old school CrossFitter in me, and even in some regard, old school Bison in me, this is what it was, right? CrossFit.com, when they started releasing these workouts, you would not see it until the night before. And that's what CrossFit Bison did for a very long time, years. I didn't post the workout until I got home or until I was ready. Sometimes it was 8 o'clock. Sometimes it was 10:30 p.m. So you essentially went to bed not knowing what the workout was. If you did work out at night, you could wake up and always see it. But for the morning people, a lot of them just didn't know until they woke up in the morning. We made that transition for a lot of different reasons years later, and I kind of missed the old ways. So we experimented with, instead of sending out weekly programming, you just found out the workout either from someone else or when you showed up to the gym. Ramsden, you like this kind of stuff, playing games mentally with people.
Once in a while, yeah. Well, playing games with people all the time, yes. But Dark Week specifically, once in a while, yeah.
Do you think this is something that is give me a pro and con to, as an athlete, Dark Week?
Okay. Pro is, I'll tell a story from the Asbury Park Summer Games, where they had a workout that was a lifting workout, and was something that we saw. We had a lot of teams compete. We saw a lot of people preparing for this. You know, we had programming that was specifically designed for the lifting that they were going to be able to do to make sure they got their maximum lifts. You get there the first day, first couple heats go, lifting platforms break. So all of a sudden, Asbury Park has to say, listen, we got to switch this up. And now I saw the gamut of people saying, well, I can't do this workout anymore. Now I have to squat, and I plan to do 60 wall balls later, and all these things. And other people that were like, it happens. Go. Let's come up with a plan, and let's see what we can do. And so I think the more prepared you are for that, or the more times you've experienced not knowing what you're getting walking through the door of the gym, the better you'll be to handle a situation like that. Cons. All right, I got yelled at this all throughout the week. So it's not an issue for us, but fashion, or what you're wearing to the gym, is a big thing for women, the movements that are in the workout. And that just didn't cross my mind until I got yelled at multiple times for it. Every morning when I would get woken up at 5:45, and my wife didn't know what to wear to the gym because she didn't know what the workout was. So it's definitely a con of, preparation, and especially those morning athletes who, want to be prepared in the next morning. They got to get out of the door really quickly, just, get ready and go to the gym. So I guess I do see the con there.
Yeah, I think that equipment, toys, that is one thing for sure. If you're wearing a chesty because you cut up your clavicle all the time.
What's a chesty?
It's for women. They wear a lot. Some of them will wear a padded top. Yeah. So, and maybe you want to bring your lifters or this or that, for a particular workout. So knowing those things can be helpful. It can also be helpful to, when you know a workout, to sort of plan it a little bit. I think that planning for the week, I oftentimes will think about these workouts off and on during the week, and I'm like, okay, how am I going to break this one up and this one up? And we all know, especially we just talked about the open, but if you can go in with a good plan, that makes such a difference. So you're not going hot every time. You're like, oh, okay. Like if you have, say, 2 days to think about a workout, I bet you most of the times you'll do better than if you were presented that workout 3 minutes prior to doing it. Okay. So if you want to optimize your performance, sometimes just thinking about a workout can be helpful. The problem is that you can obsess over these workouts, which can be very unproductive for many people. I want to give a shout out to Ella Kinney because last week she decided on her own to go dark again and not know what the workouts were because she felt like she thought about them all the time. And I see that with a lot of athletes. They worry so much about a particular workout. Oh my God, there are 80 wall balls on Thursday. How the heck am I I hate wall balls. I don't want to do this. And that can really just take up way too much energy and mental time that you don't need to do. So if you suddenly have a week where you don't think about it like Ella did, she's like, wow, this is freeing. Like I don't have to worry. It doesn't really matter if I hate wall balls and I obsess over it. I'm still going to do the workout and I'm going to do the wall balls to the best of my ability. So what's the point of freaking out about it? I mean, there are some people like CJ who never look at the workout every day.
I respect that.
And they have a very free, clear mindset. I am not that way. I really do think about these workouts. When we did Dark Week, I only knew the day that I coached. I did not know the others.
Yeah, so even our coaches did not know the workouts because a lot of them plan days ahead of time for like warm-ups and logistics and all this, their whiteboard talk. So when we released the programming, we sent them their day's workout. So if you coach multiple days, you got multiple workouts, you could probably get a feel for what's coming and whatnot. But just so people know that the only workouts people knew on the coaching staff were the days they were actually coaching.
I will say the biggest con with knowing is the cherry picking. And it was right. It gets pretty rife sometimes. Like people will just not show up for certain movements. And does that bother me? It bothers me a lot as a coach. Yes, I think you should show up. That being said, you programmed a crap load of burpees that week.
You did. And my favorite line of the week was like, oh, no more burpees. That's 2 days already. I'm like,
so I think if you program 3 days of burpees, I don't know, the class participation might have gone down. So, I hate cherry picking. So for me, I will set my workout week regardless of what the workouts are. I will show up for the days that I have planned. Doesn't matter what the workouts are. And I think that as long as athletes do that and they don't cherry pick, unfortunately a bunch do, then, knowing what the workouts may not be the worst thing.
I think what Dark Week can teach us too as athletes is if your goal truly is to come here and become fitter, like that's a goal for a lot of people. I want to become fitter than I am right now, right? 1% better, all that. The quickest route to that, the path of least resistance, is improving your weaknesses. And it's just not fun. It's not a satisfy the moment type feel, right? Like I can come up with movements like Adam with strict muscle ups, Sam with burpees, me with rowing. If I see workouts with rowing and I'm like, yes, I'm going to come in and attack this with fire. It's like, well, you're already good at it, so you're really not working that much harder than you already have, right? But you put a pistol crossover workout in and I don't know it. I'm going to come in, I'm going to see it. I'm going to have that short term like, crap, like this is going to be a terrible workout for me. Which one of those, injuries aside, is going to get you your fitness level to a higher level? Because we often associate higher fitness with just sheer effort. And it's just not the case, right? Skills, movement patterns, developing things that you're not good at to make you more balanced can actually probably improve your likelihood of injury, right? A lot of times when I see people get hurt with a certain movement, right, or a certain body part, it was because it got overworked. And a lot of times we overwork the things that are causing that pain because that joint, that part of our body really needs to work over and over because I'm always coming in on the overhead day. I'm always coming in on the squat day. I'm always coming in, but I'm ignoring the other ones that are going to help me be more balanced. So I think in terms of the pro of a dark week or not knowing the workouts, whether it's every other week, every other day, blah, 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 would be that your fitness level will become higher, will get to a higher point if you don't always know those workouts, or again, don't cherry pick, which I think we all do a little bit. Like even days where if I'm not cherry picking what days I go in, there are certain days I'm much more excited to come in, and I have like a much better mindset, and I need to be better with that. Like I'm really excited to come on days, and other days I'm like, just hope I don't get hurt. Tell me this, because I had a good discussion with Ashley about this in regard to Dark Week. If you're struggling with an injury, does Dark Week help you or hurt you?
I think Dark Week can, if you are somebody that works out maybe at 6 a.m., 4:15, are really packed classes, and you do want to get good scales for the movements that you're not feeling, like you can do, that can be difficult because you got 24 people in a class. All of a sudden you have to say, oh, Sam, can you come over and just give me a scale for this, this, and that? And Sam's got a million things he's doing. He's worried about logistics and everybody and getting people in zones and stuff like that. So it can be tough, and it can be, if you don't know the workout going in, all of a sudden now you see these movements and you're like, I can't do half of those. Uh-oh. Like my shoulder's been bothering me. I don't want to bother Sam. Like it can be an extra form of stress that you don't really need as an athlete.
It's Dark Week if you're injured. It can be difficult in terms of figuring out your scales. But if you have, let's say, a shoulder issue, and then you're like, oh my God, this is all shoulder stuff, I'm not coming in today, then that's worse. So it's okay to have an injury and have to change all the movements. I've done that. And it sucked, but I ended up doing it and just coming in because I knew coming in and doing something that was really, really different, but trying to keep the stimulus, even if it seemed really different, was better than just staying at home and not working out. And that's the problem, is I see a lot of people who have injuries that are like, okay, this is, this day kind of day, and so I'm not going to come in because all the movements include my shoulder. So figuring that out, like don't use it as an excuse not to come in. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to Deb T and Vivian, Vivian's coming back, I think, it might be this week coming up. Actually, when is this for being released? She's already come back at this point.
Yeah.
And, she sends me a text every week saying, you better have that spot at 6 a.m. open for me. But those two have their own respective injuries and personal situations going on that they're really trying to get to the bottom of, and they're trying really hard and doing things and surgeries, right, to try to fix whatever is going on. And they both say the same, like, I feel bad. I don't want you guys always have to change the workouts for me. And two things, that's a coach's job. So if a coach ever doesn't want to do it for you, like, just let us know. They won't work here anymore. Right? If you have a coach out there that acts like that, they're not really a coach. They're just more of like a cheerleader type. And you need to know that ahead of time. But so let's take that thought out. You should never feel bad, okay? And B, you coming to the gym and still trying to piece together a workout, even though it's definitely not nearly as fun as it could be. You're not always doing what you want to do. I got to get on the bike again. I got to do this again. Try as hard as you can to look at the benefit of what you get from, like Deb T's doing a lot of core work right now instead of certain movements. And it has nothing to do with a squat clean, right? But she's building up her core so that when she is back, that is going to be that much stronger. She says, oh my God, I tried to squat the other day and I felt so slow, or this movement pattern feels weak. I'm like, well, that's going to happen while you're trying to rehab and try to get to the bottom. But let's look at the benefit of how much core work you're doing, how much hinge work you're doing, how much DHD, how much biking. That if you can, I tell this to coaches all the time and athletes, if you're hurt, if you're banged up, that does not mean don't come in and just end it at period. There's always going to be something that you can do. It just might not be as fulfilling. But I think the second you take yourself out of the routine of coming to the gym, it's going to multiply and compound how much harder it is to get back into the routine. And then you miss out on a lot of the community benefits of being here too.
I think one of the things we're doing is trust. When a programmer and a gym gives you the programming ahead of time, they're trusting you. They are saying, we trust you to be responsible about not cherry picking so much, about, making sure you trust us with how your fitness is going. Because I know, for example, there are a fair number of athletes that are like, I want to move, I want to sweat, so they'll come to all the 20-minute plus workouts with like a bunch of different movements, but then it's front squat day, and they won't show up because, you know, they're like, I don't want to get bulky. I just want to burn some fat, and I don't want big legs. And honestly, they couldn't be further from the truth. And that's where I think you as an athlete have to understand they're trusting you with the programming to do the right thing and show up. If you don't trust your program or you don't trust your gym, then why are you there in the first place? Like, do the right thing. And if you really believe in CrossFit, if you believe this is going to help you, do that. You don't necessarily know the best. Like, I don't know there's a lot about programming and getting fitter that I don't know. I trust my coaches. I trust the person who's programming at my gym to help me. I am not an expert by any means about any of this stuff. I'm learning, I'm getting better, but if you tell me doing more wall balls is going to make me better, I'm going to do them. And you know what? They do. And if lifting is too. So don't look at it like, you know, and so Dark Week is sort of an experiment. Like, now I do have to trust my programmer. I do have to know that whatever I'm doing is right. So, you know, take that for what it is. You know, look at it as an experiment of, I'm going to just show up no matter what, but maybe I should be doing that all the time, regardless of whether I know the workouts or not.
And if we take the injuries and cherry picking and put it aside, everybody likes to go on vacation, right? If you go on vacation, are you just not going to work out for a week, 2 weeks? You know, are you going to know exactly what's in the hotel gym? If you drop in somewhere, are you going to ask them what the workouts are when you email them? It's like you inviting me over for dinner and being like, well, what are we having first? You know, it's
Nothing good.
Right. But, you know, you're going to show up and you're going to have to deal with what you've got in front of you because you want to get a workout in, you know, because we are trying to get fitter, and not working out at all for a week is not going to get you fitter. That's the bottom line.
How often should we do this? Let's wrap this up with, should this be an everyday, always? Once, 1 week a month, 1 week a quarter, 1 WOD a week? I threw a random Saturday into that mix a couple weeks ago. I just said, hey, here are the movements. You know, is that what we should do? Because I know some people, I do empathize with the equipment and clothing factor, because I am that way too, with like shoes and stuff, right? Matching my outfits and
knee sleep for running days.
Do you see value in telling people when to expect this? That, hey, we're going to do this once a month, once a quarter, or do you just randomly do it?
I think the randomization is great.
Yeah.
You know, I think we told people the week before that they weren't going to get the workouts for the following week. You know, and I think we would need to give them some notice, because you can't just say, here's the programming. Oh, what's Wednesday? Oh, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Or maybe you could do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think having it, you know, you don't want to do it every week. You don't want to do it once a month. I think like once a quarter, you know, maybe for a couple workouts, or sprinkle them in throughout the month or the 2 months that you program ahead of time. Like, I think that would be the sweet spot.
I think it's whatever you want as a gym. Like, see what would be best to shake up your gym a little bit. You know, I think a lot of people, you might get a lot of negative feedback if you did it every week.
We get negative feedback about everything.
Well, that is kind of true. that is true. So I think you should do it whenever you feel like. Listen, if as an athlete, I like knowing what the workouts are ahead of time. But if you are like, hey, once a month, we're going to, like, for a whole week, we're going to do that, I would adjust. Like, you know, I would just get used to whatever it is that you threw out there. I think you should make it what works for your gym. Like you said, logistically, that can be an issue. Yeah. It's kind of a pain, because then you're, you know, as a gym to sort of do that really often. But yeah, should you throw it in there? Absolutely.
Yeah, I think we're going to. What's up?
No, I just, you know, when we're relating it back to the open before, I just want to mention that, like, we have a lot of first responders. We have a lot of people that work during the weekends. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, you're saying, oh, the workout gets Thursday afternoon. We have a lot of people that have to do that workout Thursday night, and that's their only chance.
It's true.
So they have a couple hours. Maybe they don't even know because they're working during the day. They can't see what the workout is. They come straight to the gym just because they got to get the workout in before they go away for the weekend. So I think, you know, being able to train your mind to say, look at a workout and be able to say, okay, these are the ways I'm going to break this up, or I'm going to try this, try that. I think there's value in that.
Yeah, the whole idea of relinquishing control and knowing that you're not always in control of things. You don't get to control, your workouts from time to time, right? And this is not coming from we're the ones that have the power and you will do what we tell you. There's none of that. But I do think there needs to be an understanding of what your place is here. You don't get to control. I had a coach for multiple years, same thing. I never got to control anything. And I didn't know the workouts ever till 3 days before. It's always 3 days at a time. So it's kind of like I've been on that side and I get it, and I get the positives and benefits behind. The pros and cons behind it. But again, relating to the open, being fit enough to tackle on any task that is thrown your way, scaled or RX, doesn't really matter. But also the fact that I just lost my train of thought. This hasn't happened in a while. The why behind it and how often we want to do this is probably going to be once a quarter, right? And the reason is, this is what I want to talk about. It brought a lot of life to the gym during that week. Like, I really try as hard as I can as an owner, and this gets harder over the years, is to like have a pulse on what is the vibe in the gym. Sometimes you maybe will make some things up in your head and get too upset or too happy, right? Just take things for what they are. But there was a lot of discussion and laughing and like joking, and like you saw a different side of people that I really enjoyed that whole week. Like, people come in and they're like, look at the whiteboard real quick to see what it is. Like, you have to try and create exciting moments like that take us away from like the mundane day-to-day. I already know my workout, I already know my plan, I already know my pacing. I just think there's values that are a little beneath the surface that help the community out. So I have settled on that we're probably going to do this once a quarter.
I will say this. You did program good workouts that week. It wasn't punitive or horrible. I mean, okay, you did burpees three days that week, but like, you didn't program 500 burpees for time or some horrible, like punitive type workout.
Right.
Like, you
10K row.
No, you were super responsible with that, and that made it fun.
Good. All right. Well, thank you guys. That is Dark Week. For those that don't come to Bison, I think it's something you guys can consider. You talk to your coaches, owners about it. I think it brings a different level of fun to it and just kind of shakes things up without it being overboard. And for the athletes at Bison, it's coming. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everybody, for taking the time out of your day to listen to the HerdFit Podcast. Be on the lookout for next week's episode.